You are the lid or the bottleneck that is preventing the performance from accelerating inside whatever area you're leading.
When you know you're the lid, the best thing that you can do is hire the best people and get out of the way and let them do their job.
If you're a leader and you don't have someone in your life who is consistently pushing back on you or challenging you, you got to go find that person. Hey, welcome back to the 3PX show. We are happy to be here. Happy to see you. Thank you for coming back. And if you're brand new to the show, hopefully you enjoy this episode. So maybe you'll come back. And if this is your second or third or more time watching, then we're listening.
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome
Glad to
back.
have you.
Thanks for being here.
Welcome back.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get kicked off with a little WWW. What's Wayne wearing?
Oh, you started off with that real quick, didn't you?
Yeah.
100%.
Because I'll forget it.
Well, how many times do we ever say 100%?
A lot less because Quentin's given me a complex about it.
We said a lot during the day, throughout the day.
Yes, we do.
We do say it a lot. It's just, when we talk about something and we know that, we're speaking right now, it's like, okay, 100%.
100%.
Yes, I agree. So,
hey, you know what people are about to see in a few seconds that you have no idea?
oh my
Because
gosh.
Quentin's magic.
What is he going to do?
Your transformation between the first podcast
Dude.
and what people are watching right now, you're like half the man you used to be.
No, not at all. Well, I mean, I have lost a lot of weight.
I know, but this isn't our topic for today, but healthy leadership isn't just how you act in the business, how you treat people, but there's something to be said about your physical health, right? And you've been on a little bit of a journey, and I'm not saying, we get too deep into it. You tried to scare us all for no good reason around here.
Hey,
But you've been on a little bit of a journey where you've really been taking care of yourself, and it shows. So I'm curious, I think for the listeners, how has it impacted the way you feel, how you do at work, your energy level? Talk about some of that kind of stuff.
it's changed a lot. It's I feel better than I've ever felt. Actually, I'm down at the weight right now when I graduated high school.
Wow.
Which is, that was almost 40 years ago. So it's been a long time.
Little Wayne,
exactly. But I feel great. I've got so much energy. And really what spurred it on was I was feeling bad. I was eating bad. Couldn't lose any weight, just in that rut. And Stephanie told me about somebody that one of her friends' husbands was going to down in Nashville, and so I went to see them and just I started trying to do better because I was aching in places, and so I went there, started doing blood work, trying to find out, okay, where am I missing at? And so they really diagnosed me real well as far as what I needed to do. What are you low in? My HDL, and it's also the cholesterol type of things. So I've learned so much about my body over the past 5 months. It's unreal. So we did that. They put me on different supplements, put me on different things just to help with my strength, also help with weight loss and things of that nature. And so over about a 4 or 5 month period, it's just I dropped a lot of weight, and then And I've also gotten stronger at the same time because I work out 5 days a week now. I do the sauna, like an infrared sauna, quite a bit, and so just a lot of things where it's just I do feel like I've transformed a lot over the past several months, and it's not one of those where I feel like, okay, I've done it, now let's just settle in. Where people, it's not even a weight loss program that I'm on. It's just one of those is healthy living, trying to get my life, my health part of it right, because if you're going to run a business, especially for business owners, if you plan on running a business for a long period of time or you are very active and involved, the better you feel and the more energy you have, it speaks volumes even to your team and to the leadership of the company. And, that's what's really helped me along the whole process. But it has been a journey. I've learned, I've had some calcium build up in my heart and all that. And so
it's not bad,
been
though.
A scare. It's not bad. No, it's
right.
not as
Freaking
bad
out the
as
viewers.
Not as bad as as I thought it was at the beginning.
Nashville power couple,
Hey.
Chris and Deneen Winkler are watching right now and listening, and they're freaking out now, thinking that there's something wrong with their heart.
Nope.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. I'm all good. It just means that I got to pay attention to it. And I've got to, make sure that from this point forward, I just start doing the right things. I spent the past 30, 40 years. When you travel a lot and you're on business trips and different places, doesn't matter how good you want to try to eat. it's never a great place to find to eat when you're eating out all the time.
Yeah.
And that makes it tough. And so I've had to make a lot of changes and a lot of different things to my diet and how I do, and get rid of a lot of things. And I did a food sensitivity test too, which really has transformed more than anything, because now I know what causes inflammation and what doesn't. And so I've had to stay away from the things that I used to love. And so, but I also know that, hey, that this right here can cause a lot of inflammation and cause a lot of different things that are harmful to your body. And so, it's just a change.
So for leaders, founders, anyone listening or watching the show, if they're like, man, food sensitivity test, all these things that you went through, can you talk about if someone wanted to go and just get kind of quote unquote checked out? Now, because what you went through is not a typical wellness exam or a typical physical. What would they search for or look for, or what's like the terminology that they would ask their primary care physician, or even just on the internet, to try to find kind of what you went through that has prompted you to really, look at physical health a different way?
So I started looking for, it's a functional doctor is what I look for. And so, and really this is referred to by a friend. The place I go to is Next Health down in Nashville, and they're actually all over the country in the bigger cities. And so as I went to that, that's really what spurred the whole thing, because it's not just your conventional medicines that people are going to give you. They're going to put you on the different supplements, maybe even peptides that can help you focus on the things that you're deficient in, and the things that you're too high of a level in, focus on those too. So it's doing several things at a time. When I first started, it was all about the supplements and let's just get those to get my body to a better point. And then we'd move over into peptides once it does. And peptides really start focusing on, how your body produces certain things. And sometimes the older you get, your body stops producing, like testosterone, or stops producing other things. And so knowing that, you start targeting those areas and stuff. So, but I would look for more of a functional doctor, or something that's, there's a lot of these around the country now, but the one up here is called Next Health. And I just went in, they did a blood test, came back and just really started looking at, hey, you're low here, high here. Mine was big time cholesterol, which was the big one for me, and probably a big one for a lot of people. But that they go after the root cause more than they go after just throwing some kind of a pill on top that's going to fix this, but might cause something else.
Yeah. Well, you would never think that we could transition, or that I could like segue this topic that we're talking about into the topic that we're talking about this morning, but I can.
But you can.
Just watch me.
All right, go ahead.
What you made the decision to say is, I'm not going to allow my physical health to be a leadership lid for me.
Right.
Because if you're not functioning at your very best physically, and obviously mentally and all that stuff, that impacts our business. It impacts our team. I can't tell you how many times when we'll talk about this in another episode, but I went through a couple of years of really, really tough time here recently. And when you're going through either some mental health things or physical health things, it impacts your mood at work.
It does.
The way you treat people, your fuse gets really, really short when you're not feeling good or you got something going on. But when your body is performing at its most optimal best, when your energy level is at its most optimal best, then you treat people better and you kind of remove that part of the lid. I tell people like this: your physical body is not like your cell phone. When your physical body, when the battery goes down, it impacts your performance. When your cell phone, whether your cell phone's at 100%, 50%, or 15%, your cell phone still does all the same things, makes all the same calls, and works just as fast. But when your body is depleted, the difference between 100% and 20%, 50%, 15% is huge.
Very.
That's why at 2, 3 o'clock, when you're feeling that afternoon drag, it really impacts your business, because we're still selling, phones are still ringing, people still need support, they still need leadership. And if you're not your best at 3 o'clock, like you are at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., it impacts the business. So when you take care of your body and you're able to produce the same amount of energy, the same amount of passion throughout the day, it's better for the business. So that's kind of what we're talking about. So today, really the topic is the leadership lid. And this is not just about founders, although on my notes it says founders. And as much as I want to make this about Wayne, the leadership lid can be anybody.
Right.
It can be whether you're the founder, you're the CEO. If you are running a store, if you're running a department, if you're leading a shift, you could be the lid or the bottleneck that is preventing let me say that a different way. You are the lid or the bottleneck that is preventing the performance from accelerating inside whatever area you're leading. Everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yes.
100%.
And
and I've got a story to tell about when I recognized, and this will lead to our next episode. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much here, but there was a time where I was recognizing like I am preventing the growth of my market when I took over, and I'll talk about some things I did. But I think for the purpose of this podcast, your story is really the most relevant. And that is, I know we've said it 1,000 times, but what I want you to focus on is how did you arrive at the moment when you recognized that you as the founder, you can't do it all anymore. It's too much for one person and you became the lid. It wasn't anymore, they're not doing this and they're not doing that. It's me. I'm not bringing in the right people. I'm not training the way I should, whatever it is. What was that moment like for you, or how did you arrive at that moment? Because I think there's a lot of leaders are there and they don't ever make the mental switch to realize it's me.
yeah.
I need to make some changes, right? Talk about that moment, for you.
Well, it's, part of it is know thyself. That's something one of our people that help coach us, Cheryl, she would always say that, know thyself.
Cheryl Kish, shout out.
Exactly. Shout out to her. But this was back in 2018, 2019. We were just struggling. We had a growing business. Everything was growing, but we had a couple of different locations, and it was just extremely difficult to manage it all and run it all by myself. I'd try to hire people, and I would hire the wrong people. I'd try to do this or do that, and part of it too was, as you know, and you could probably attest to, is when I was making all the decisions. So everybody would just, my door is a revolving door. I'd always tell everyone, hey, I have an open door. Come see me. Let's talk about it. Let's go through it. Well, they would come to me, but they would come to me for the answer, not come to me with for the answer or with the solution.
Yeah.
Instead, right? And there's a big difference in that. A lot of times, if you come there and they just want an answer, well, then I become the scapegoat, and it still happens to this day every once in a while. Not nearly as much. I mean, I would say it's about 3% of the time instead of 100% of the time, right? But before you came, people would come to the office and they would have an issue and want me to solve it for them. Then when they go back and they'd work on that issue or do it, maybe they didn't do it the exact way that I thought it, or I didn't hear the whole story, and it would change or something would happen. Well, that's what Wayne said. Mm-hmm. Well, and so as a business owner or founder, that's a very difficult thing, because now everything's riding on you, whether it's success or failure, it's 100% on your shoulders. And when you start changing that and you start having that person come in and say, hey, here's what the issue is, but here's how I think we should solve it. And they're coming with the solution. That's a much better situation. It's hard to make that dial, to turn that dial to make it different. And when you came in, that was one of the first things that you stopped was, hey, they can't just keep coming to you over and over and over. But I just saw it at some point that, hey, we can't keep growing if we don't make some changes. I need somebody to come in and help me to, because I was hitting that ceiling, right? I was the one that had the lid, and it was a very difficult situation to overcome, and I really didn't know what to do. And the more we started talking about it, the more we started praying about it, the more I realized, like, man, I've got to have someone that has been there, done that, and that was very difficult to try to what does that look like? And God put you right in the path, and again, it was one of those where, as I was looking at it, at the very beginning when I was talking to you, I was like, because you were with a much bigger company, but you'd already you helped grow different divisions and really had a huge impact on the success of the company that you're working at. And I was just thinking we're going to get some advice. I didn't think there's ever a shot for us to be able to have you come on board and help and run it. But that was a huge transformation to us. If you look at where our company was in, we were growing, but since you've been here, just because you knew how to put the right teams together, those are things that I didn't. I'd always worked for smaller companies my entire life, and so the company that we had built was kind of the biggest company that I'd ever worked at. But it and just trying to have that and run it the way it needed to be run. It was just a difficult situation for us, for me anyway.
I think one of the key things that you said that I really hope that leaders take away from that conversation is you didn't go 1-for-1 hiring.
No,
help.
It was a 3-for-1. Yeah,
you failed several times.
Yeah,
but just because you recognized, hey, I need help, I need leadership help, I need to scale decision making. That's a really good takeaway for people who are listening. You have to scale decision making. So you recognize I got to scale decision making. Everybody's coming to me. Things are breaking. No one's taking ownership, because then when it doesn't work, it's like, well, I just did what Wayne told me to do.
Yeah.
So now there's no ownership, right? You made they were probably good hires when you went through the interview process.
Oh yeah.
And talking to people and everything sounds great. And then when they get into the operation, that's when you start to see, all right, they're really not who they said they were, or they just can't perform at the level that I expected. And you didn't drag that stuff out for years and years and years. I think that's another key, is when you recognize that this person or that person wasn't right, however you decided to dissolve that relationship, they dissolved. And then you didn't quit. That's the point here. You didn't give up and say, well, I could really rant about this. I just can't, we can't attract good people, or there's not good people out there.
Right.
Or it's just this generation that, people that they don't work hard, they don't know this, and, start putting all these stereotypes out there. You stayed committed to, I gotta have somebody who can help me run this business.
Yeah.
And you stayed after it.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this, when you were talking, it just really hit me. The biggest transformation for me personally is when we started EOS, and that was 6 months to a year before you came. But we started that, and it was all about right person, right seat. And when we started looking at that, because Justin, our integrator at the time, he called it integrator? Implementer. That's right. He's the implementer. He came in, outside counsel came in, implementer, and it really challenged us to put the right people in the right seat, because that's the biggest core of EOS, is to do that. And that part was the most eye-opening to me. And it was also the hardest to me as well, because I had good people that I had promoted and put in the wrong spots and that kind of thing. And that was very, very difficult, but it also, it opened my eyes to realize that, hey, I need someone that can come in and can really take charge and do, and I don't have that person on staff. Mm-hmm. And I've got to keep looking. It also, during that process, we put together our core values, which was a big deal, how he helped us put together our core values. And when he did that, when we got our core values and our core focus, I was able to look at that and then look at the previous couple of people and say, they were great people. They just didn't fit our organization because of one thing or another on that part of it.
So you had another, so on top of the struggles that you started to have in the business, you actually had an external source. You had an EOS, a system, and there's a lot out there. We've talked about them.
Yeah.
But you had a system that kind of helped guide you, but then you had a key implementer. We'll call him an implementer, but really what Justin is he is a professional coach. He's a business coach. He's a personal coach. You had somebody that was challenging your current way of thinking and forcing you to be introspective rather than just kind of going along with whatever you wanted. So before I kind of tell you my quick story about how I bottlenecked our entire region when I first got into multi-unit leadership, if you're a leader and you don't have someone in your life who is consistently pushing back on you or challenging you, you got to go find that person.
Yeah.
Now we're at a point now where you and I agree pretty free. I'd say the vast majority of the time, we agree, because we've kind of been through that first year or 2 years of kind of contrast.
Yes.
and now we've kind of aligned the business, and we're both running together. But if you're enjoying or even listening to this conversation and you don't have that person, you have got to go find that person that is going to speak truth to you, that is going to challenge you, that's going to challenge your ideas, that's going to push back, someone that's going to cause you to shift, turn the prism, and see through a different lens.
Yep.
You got to have that. And Justin, was that for you?
Justin was that for me. And we could have sat back and said, because we've seen this with other people that have implemented EOS, where they'll implement it, but it's hard to follow through because you got to make some really, really tough decisions as a CEO or owner of the company if everything's not put in place the right way. So if you're a small business, especially a small business owner, and you don't have everybody in the right seats, what's even more difficult is if you have people in the wrong seats and you had to have those conversations, especially when they're really good people that you don't want to lose. How do you have that conversation and talk to them and say, hey, you're not the right person for this seat. I need to move you back over here to open up a spot where I can bring in the right person for it. And I had a lot of sleepless nights going through that. But once it was made, it changed the whole trajectory of our company.
Mm-hmm. So there I was, a general manager running a store, a newer store. And I've always found that the easiest transition to go from 4 walls to 12 or 16 or whatever, going from 1 unit to multi-unit, the easiest transition are the managers who have managed very large stores, because they're not able to do everything themselves. They have to rely on their managers or their supervisors or their department leaders under them to lead, where the manager can't do it themselves. And the pitfall that I ran into in kind of when I started my career in leadership is I was a great general manager, but I opened a brand new store and grew it for a year, 2 years. And I never had the opportunity to run it for, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years and run a really big store to hone those skills of leading through other leaders and leading through people.
Yep.
So when I got promoted to multi-unit manager, instantly I became the lid in the region, because I still had the general manager mentality of I'm going to go and do things myself, small store general manager mentality where I'm going to do things myself. So when there was a problem in the region, I would drive to the store. I would work all day. I'd get there before the store opened. I'd stay until after it closed. I would do all the things in the store. And when I left, store looked good. It collected money that day. It had tons of sales. Inventory looked great. Warehouse looked great. I left tired as a dog, but feeling like, oh, I did something really special.
Yeah.
And everybody in the store loved me. And then within about 3 or 4 days, stores right back in the dump again. So then I got to rush back in the next week or two and do the exact same thing over and over and over again. And I'm doing this for probably half or more of the stores in my market because my mindset hadn't shifted. I was the limiting factor. Now, what I could have done was I could have blamed my general managers. I could have said, I don't have good people. I could have said, well, we can't attract good quality talent. And that's an excuse that a lot of you make listening, not to rant at you, but that's exactly what happens. You don't know how many times I hear there aren't good candidates out there. All the good ones are taken. This generation is lazy. They don't work like they used to. All this kind of stuff. The problem is you as the leader, you can't attract good talent. You can't retain good talent. You can't hire good people. You are the lid in your business that's holding your people back. I finally recognized that. So this is what I changed. It actually came from a conversation with a good friend of mine, John Lee, legendary in the business that I came from, great guy. And I'm telling him, and he's like, dude, what is wrong with you, you maniac? You should not be going into stores and doing all the work. You need to go into the stores and you need to coach people and hold people accountable for doing the work that they're not doing, that you're having to go in there and do yourself. Now, I know that sounds simple. Dude, it changed my life.
Yeah.
So for the next several months, when I would go into stores, I didn't pick up anything. I didn't clean warehouses. I didn't make sales. I didn't get on the phone. I didn't do anything. What I did was I evaluated where the store opportunity was, and then I looked to the general manager, the people that were leading those areas, and then I coached them, and then I asked for agreement on how can I hold you accountable for doing these things that you're telling me that you're going to do. So I'd spend the first 2 or 3 hours of every single day on the phone talking to people that I had worked with over the last week, 2 weeks, and just following up. Hey, did you do this? Hey, send me a picture. I want to see what your warehouse looks like. Hey, what does your showroom look like? Did you get everything priced like you were supposed to? The returns that you did yesterday, have they all been restored and refreshed? Are they on the floor? Send me a picture of that. Did you get your phone calls done? Send me your call sheet so I can see that they were done. Like, I started following up on the behaviors.
Yeah.
Now, that is brutal. It will wear you out. But you know what? After several months of doing that, it got easier and easier, and behavior started to anchor. And now I could coach at higher levels. I wasn't just holding people accountable for foundational behaviors of how to just keep a store moving. I could really coach them on higher level P&L type things to show them how to make more money, how to save time in the day, teach them really some efficiencies and all that kind of stuff. So that one conversation with John Lee, that shift where I took ownership and I recognized I am the one who is limiting the growth of this region. I probably was on on track to get fired. That changed not just my trajectory, but the entire region's trajectory. And that year we became Region of the Year.
That's because you set the expectations, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody understood what the rules were now, because everybody was sitting back and they were letting you come in, and that was just, and the predecessor may have done the same thing, right? They may have come in and just worked. You were working yourself like a dog, and the results were showing for, like you said, a few days, but they weren't showing the whole time. And when he told you that, when you made that change and that transformation, those next few months were brutal, but after that, it started clearing up. The same thing that happened to me here. I mean, I was coming in super early. I mean, 6 o'clock was my usual start time. And then I'd leave after everybody else did at, say, 5 o'clock or so, and then go home and get on my computer and do different things. Today, I'm getting in 7:30, and I'll leave 3:30, 4 o'clock, sometimes sooner, sometimes a lot sooner.
I'm not going to lie.
And then, but that's what we built, though, right?
We leave when we're done.
We leave when we're done. I mean, get to the gym earlier and start taking care of yourself better, because guess what? We've set it up in a way, you've set it up in such a great way where the team, they're doing their job. And everybody knows what the expectation of the job is and what we have to do and accomplish as a company, all the KPIs, all the different things that we look at. There's someone that is in charge of it, taking care of it. And we got a lot of the same people. Now we have a lot of new people, but they know exactly what they have to do to get the job done.
So I'm going to tell on myself right here, because I want to talk about bottlenecks for 1 second. I want to give everybody an example of something we're dealing with right now that is absolutely my fault, because I have created this environment in a project that we're running. And as much as people watching this think because we have a podcast and we've got these successful businesses, we have all the answers, man, we still mess up. I still mess up
all the time.
A lot. So, but I think that's what makes us fun to listen to. Hopefully people have fun listening to us, is because, hey man, we're making mistakes and we're telling you the stuff that we're doing wrong. Please don't do these things, right?
Exactly.
So let me give you an example. So a bottleneck that we're going through right now is with our new website that we're building. We are building it's basically done now, and we're moving into user acceptance testing and all of that. But it has been a long, hard journey of over a year. Okay.
It has.
When we started this project, I said, all right, this is not a fail-safe project. And for those of you that have been watching, you know how I determine fail-safe, right? Like, is this going to sink the company and really hurt performance? If the answer is no, it's fail-safe. You step away, you let people take ownership and do whatever they need to do, and allow them to learn. If they fail, it's okay. We'll fix it. This was not one of those times. This is way too expensive and way too critical. So I thought, I'm going to just jump in here and do everything. I'm going to be in every meeting. I'm going to be a part of every decision. And I have really worked hard, and my schedule has paid the price for that. But what I have created is, there on more than one occasion, I have been double booked with meeting times. Usually it involves like someone coming to visit, or, like it's someone that I have to go and meet or talk to, and I just got to skip one of these meetings.
Yep.
And I'll tell the team, hey, I can't be at this meeting or I can't be at that meeting. And at least 3 different times that I can remember right off the top of my head, they've canceled the entire meeting with everyone else on the team because they knew if I wasn't there to make a decision or to answer a question, that it wouldn't get done. So the meeting just got canceled. That pushes back work,
Yep.
bottlenecks decision making, makes people feel like they don't have ownership. And I'm in a position now where I don't know whether to apologize or just to kind of tell people, which I really kind of have been telling people, like, hey, I have apologized, but I have told people I'm micromanaging. I know I'm in every meeting because I feel like it's so important.
Yep.
But without a doubt, it has made the process more difficult for the entire company because every single meeting and every single decision hinges on me and what I think. Before anybody can make a decision, what does Steve think? And I'm probably the last person who needs to be answering those questions, but it's created frustration and bottlenecks for us, so I'm still making those mistakes.
Yeah, but you're learning, you've learned this system inside and out, which is a good thing. And somebody had to be the engineer, had to be the person that was going to lead the ship. And you've done a great job with it, which is just a true testament to your leadership style, because everybody is. But, I think you're doing a great job of letting people, hey, I need you to do this part. And then they take it and they run and they bring it back and they show us and give us the examples or give us the images or whatever it may be. And it's turned out to be really, really well. At least you're seeing what direction needs to go. But this was a big project. I mean, that's a tough one, but everybody is. And part of the thing that you do too is you listen a lot better than most people do. And you start thinking, okay, somebody should be asking questions and no one's saying a word. And so
That's
you've been
true.
able to catch that part of it. And that's a huge deal. And so, yeah, it is a tough situation, but sometimes you have to jump in there with both feet and just make it happen.
You know what I wrote down earlier?
What's that?
How to be the best second in command.
Okay.
Because I think, when you were talking about, how we came together and the path of, made some bad hires and, and then what our partnership has done, not just for the business, but also for you personally. I don't think that people listening really recognize how successful you can be not being in charge, not being the founder, not being the CEO. You can make a great living. You can love what you're doing, being second in command, playing second fiddle kind of thing. And there are probably thousands. We talked to one just last week. Thousands of companies, of founders, CEOs, owners, leaders who are desperate for someone, second in command, who's someone, similar to what I do, that is in Wayne's exact position. Those businesses are all over the place.
Yeah.
Desperate for people who just want to be their second in command.
Think how big that the one that we talked to last week they've gotten. They've got a great company, a fantastic company, but they're struggling with it. There's
multiple awards.
Yeah.
Fast growing company.
Yeah.
Ernst & Young.
All the things.
Entrepreneur of the Year,
Yeah.
type winners.
And so they've done a great job. Here's a big thing that I tell a lot of CEOs or business owners. When you know you're the lid, the best thing that you can do is hire the best people. Don't try to hire people that hire people that are smarter than you are, but hire the best people and get out of the way and let them do their job. And that's probably the best thing. I mean, yeah, the joke a lot of times is I'm gone a lot, or I'm, because I'm doing outside things. I'm helping with different charities on different things and doing. And then Stephanie and I, we travel a lot, have kids that live overseas. But I'm able to do that because I know I've got the best people that can take it and run it and do it. And I just get out of the way, let them do their job. Because if you hire the best people and then you want to micromanage them, then just hire people that's going to do what you want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that you can tell them, hey, no, do this. And they do it. Well, then you don't need the best people. You just need somebody that's going to be a yes man. And that's the worst thing that you can do.
This is off topic, but like this thought came to me, so I got to talk about it, and that is I always say hire hard, manage easy.
Yep.
Hire hard, manage easy. You could also say hire hard, fire fast,
Mm-hmm.
right? What you're talking about is when you hire good people or what you believe are great people, and then you, right off the bat, you give them the trust to take some ownership and start making decisions.
Yep.
You find out faster if they are good enough to really do what you hired them to do than if you micromanage them for the next 3, 6 months, 12 months.
Yeah.
Because now their performance rises and falls on your ability to micromanage. And did you check this? Did you check that? And you never really know if they can do the job or not.
Yeah.
You could find out in 30 days if you hired the right person or not, if you would just let them do the job and give them the opportunity. Now, I'm not talking about frontline cashier, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. You've got to give them in-depth training and show them all the things and, that's a different role. What I'm talking about is when you hire someone in a senior leadership type level, if that person is coming to you and complaining about where's my training and I need this and I need that, or you feel like you've got to hold their hand and you've got to check all the decisions they're making, dude, you got the wrong person.
Well, there's a big difference between
Period.
somebody saying, I want the job versus someone's that actually can handle the job,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, we've seen that a time or two where, oh yeah, I want the job because it pays more. It's got a great title. It's got all this, but you put that person in that position, like you said, if you give it to them and let them do it, and then they start complaining because they don't have this or don't have that, they're not the right person for that job.
Yep.
Not at all, because you put them in that position because you felt like they could do it, or maybe they said that they could do it. But the biggest, the hardest thing is when they take it and then they can't do it and they don't have that success with it because they just don't know what to do. And then they're relying on you to tell them what to do. Well, that's not you being able to get out of their way and letting them do their job. That's you having to now get back in and in a sense, micromanage or still be the boss.
Yep. So one last question I want to have before we wrap this thing up and do some key thoughts and takeaways real quick. And that is, why do you think that, I'm going to say the majority, because that's my experience, nobody wants to think that. Everybody wants to think. It's like, have you ever, you can actually Google this so you can try to prove me wrong, but you won't. Did you know like 70 or 80% of drivers believe they are an above average driver?
I'm sure they probably do.
Right?
Yes.
Well, if everybody believes they're above average, then it's impossible for every single person to be above average, right?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Well, leaders are the same way. Every leader believes they're a good leader, they're above average, and all that. And it's like they're blinded kind of thing. So leaders really struggle to take ownership for failure. They tend to point because it's not me. I'm a good leader. That's what everybody believes. They failed. They did something wrong.
Yes.
Why do you think it is that the vast majority of leaders struggle to take ownership for the failures in their team or in their company, kind of thing, that they blame the market, they blame staff, they blame the economy? It's a lot of blame game. Why do you think that? Why do you think the majority of leaders just struggle to really take extreme ownership?
So my answer on that one would be is because most everybody relies on someone else to teach them, to train them to do it instead of investing in themselves, instead of just really going after it and doing it. I remember when I lived and I worked for my dad for a long time, I got this, I read this book, and then I got at that time, it was the cassettes that I'd listen to on the way back and forth. And it was the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell.
Yep.
I've listened to that thing probably 50 times because it would take me about an hour to drive drive to work and about an hour drive back. And I would just sit there and listen to it over and over because it was like, oh, this is such great stuff. But it's investing in yourself, putting the time and the effort to make yourself a better leader. And that's what got me to where I was when you came, but I still had to, go through the ceiling at that point. But it's spending the time to invest in yourself. And I think that's really the biggest part. If you want to be a great driver, well, then invest the time into making sure that you pass your test, make sure that you drive the right way and that you do it. and you continue to invest in it. But a lot of people will just jump in. Oh, I passed my test. Boom, I'm gone. I'm doing whatever, and don't really care. Don't really remember the rules how you turn and just anything like that. And they didn't take the time to invest. They did the bare basics to get it, and that's all that they have. And at that point, once you get it, well, I passed. That means I'm a great driver. It doesn't mean you're a great driver. It just means you passed, right? There's a difference between someone in school that has a 70 average, a D, but they pass, versus someone that's that had all A's and 4.0 and all the different things, and they excelled in that because they kept investing in the time and really focusing on what they were doing at that point. And for a leader, if you don't invest in yourself, to me, that's probably the biggest thing. You have to invest in yourself. If you're waiting for someone else to invest in you, then you're never going to grow to the capacity or the capabilities that you're able to do.
I'm going to say something really mean, but only because I think it's true.
Okay.
Anyone who is listening to this and you consider yourself a leader, if you are not pouring into yourself to support self-development, if you're not going to conferences or reading a book or seeking out some type of coaching or counsel to improve yourself, you are not taking ownership for your business.
Right. 100%.
Your business, your team is going to rise and fall on your ability to rise as a leader. You can't expect performance to improve if you are not improving as a leader and learning new things and learning new techniques, learning new communication styles, learning about new technology out in the market, right? If you're not learning, if you're not expanding yourself, that is a clear sign that you are a leader who refuses to take ownership for any of the mistakes, issues, or problems in your business. Exactly. Period. Hard stop. Episode over.
Mic drop.
That's it.
It is.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, I come into work every day and I'm hiring good people. They just still don't get it. Dude.
Hey, and if you don't know, just ask.
Please.
Ask the right people.
Yeah.
And sometimes it may be when you're asking the person that's in charge, your boss, they may not know either. But the biggest takeaway is invest in yourself. You can't make anybody else better if you don't make yourself better first.
Okay. I'm going to leave you with 3 questions I want you to ask yourself. When you turn this episode off, stay in the car or in your bed or on your couch or wherever you're listening or watching. I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Okay. What decisions am I still making that someone else on my team can be owning? Okay. These are not yes or no questions. Okay. Open-ended. What decision am I still making that someone else on my team can be owning? Second question I want you to ask yourself is, where am I avoiding accountability? Okay. So another way of asking that is, where in the business am I not taking personal ownership? Okay. That's the second question. Third question is, who on my team could step up if I got out of the way? Who on my team could step up if I got out of the way? Answer those 3 questions. And if you don't like the answer to all 3, not like, oh man, I got 2 out of the 3 that are pretty good. No. If you don't have 3 great answers, you not only should be listening to this podcast, but you probably need to be listening to a lot of other things and reading books and all that kind of stuff. This is a type of introspection you have to start with. And we're going to talk about that on the next episode. Okay. We're going to talk about the power of self-awareness and introspection and how to become introspective and aware of kind of where your gaps are. So you don't want to miss the next episode. But before I close us out, any last words, Wayne?
I think those are 3 great questions, and you have to answer them very honestly. Just answer them to yourself, right? You don't have to answer them to someone else. Just self-reflect, answer those questions, and then determine, am I the bottleneck? And if you are, then try to figure out how to release that and open that up to where you can grow. But those are great questions. I think that's give a lot of introspect.
All right. I just thought of this when you said that, and that is, we'll be honest to everybody else around us, and we'll lie to ourselves.
Yeah. Be truthful and just, nobody's listening. You're the one that's doing it. And if you're honest to yourself, I mean, truly honest, because it's not what I want to be in a month or 2 months or next year. It's where you are today. That's what matters. And then that's when you know you can start fixing it. Because if you don't answer that right or honestly, it's just going to continue over and over.
That's right. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We love and we appreciate you. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this, like, share, subscribe, all the things. You can follow us on social media, reach out to us. You can even you can even text us.
Yeah.
On like the Amazon or the Apple, there's a button like you can text us.
Love
we can't reply, but we'll talk about it on the next episode. So
Definitely.
We love feedback. If you've got questions or other things that you would like to hear, don't hesitate to reach out. We love you. We appreciate you. We can't wait to see you on the next show. See ya.
See ya.